Check, check. Okay. All right, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? Coach Bruce is in the house. I am a little late on my stream today, which is actually really funny because the topic of today's stream is time management. So, we've been talking about for the last few days the ADHD struggles and how I would coach them if you were, or if, the theoretical person was one of my clients. And time management is something that, you know, it's funny that I would ever think of giving somebody coaching on this thing, but actually, because of how bad my time management used to be, I think that I have actually got a lot of great advice to give in this. So, let's have a quick recap what we've been through so far. Started out with the ADHD struggle of making things bigger than they are. Then we went through masking. We talked about follow through and then hyperfixation. So today we are talking about time management. So let's story time. Um, Whenever I was, oh gosh, let's take it back 15 years now. In my early 20s, I had made a habit of just being late all the time. It was never that this was like something I wanted to do, but I was just so used to being late because like it was an ADHD flaw. And I knew this because like I'd been diagnosed for a few years, but um I just always struggled with it because I, as I've talked about before, I was operating my life without an instruction manual. So instead of like working to implement things to help me be able to just be an earlier person, I just was late. Like I just accepted that I'm a late person to be late all the time, and I tried to compensate with that by being a great performer at work, like being a person that people enjoyed being around, doing the job is amazingly well, but you're always working against a stacked deck whenever your employers don't know whether they can count on you to show up on time. So as good as I've been in all my positions, that was something that was always working against me. What finally changed that to me was, or changed that for me, was working in the fire department. Like as much as the fire department was a very large source of like trauma and struggle for me, I did take some really positive things from that, and one of them was learning how to be on time. Um, Whenever you are in the fire department that I was in, it is literally one of the top five worst things you can do is be late to the like being late to your shift, because and there's good reasons, because you never know when there's going to be a five alarm fire that's going to kick off. And if you're not on time to your shift, the person that you're relieving could have to go to a five alarm fire after their end of their 24-hour shift. And you just put so much extra stress on their body and on their mind. And, it's not fair. It's not like showing up late to a restaurant where, they just couldn't seat you and somebody got one of your tables. Like it was, that usually was more of a pain in the butt to me than to anybody else. But um, having that on my mind was made it a little more serious. But going through the academy, it was literally like if you did not show up 45 minutes early actually maybe it was about an hour and 15 minutes early every morning, then everybody just like harassed and bullied you pretty much. And so like that was not a great way to learn it, but it became so ingrained in me that being early was not a bad thing. Like that's what I took from it. It was not that it was life or death that I was on time. It was that I would rather just change my time of arrival from on time to 20 minutes early. Like that's where I just wanted to be 20 minutes early to things, because if something happened, I had like a few minutes to work with. And I actually really hated showing up places late because I felt like the attention was always on me and people were judging me and there was like all this bad stuff. So I don't know why I didn't adopt this earlier, but the fire department allowed me to like really ingrain that mindset that you have to be early, you have to be early. And what I took away from it was like it's not a bad thing to be early. Like I don't think it's necessary to show up an hour early to every situation, but if you show up 30 minutes early to something, it's not the worst thing that could happen to you. Like we have plenty of stuff available to us that can keep us entertained for 30 minutes, or we could actually sit with our thoughts, which I understand that's probably not a super realistic thing, but like I generally just like I just take a book with me whenever I'm going somewhere. So if I'm early, like whenever I have meetings and stuff now, I'm generally the person who's waiting on somebody. And I love being that person now because for one, I'm able to give grace to people and say, it's no problem, drive safe, get here whenever you can. And then like I'm ready, like I'm prepared and I'm able to like let myself calm down and I can catch up to my mind so I can be ready for whatever meeting I've got versus like walking in the door, they're already seated, they've already got their drink. Like I have to go directly into whatever the topic is, and I don't have any time to like bring my A game because my A game is back in the car still like getting itself ready. And by the time it catches up, like the meeting's almost over. And so I think it's just really a really ideal situation to just change the time you're supposed to be showing up to an earlier time. Okay, let's frame this properly. ADHD career advancement hack number 7: adjust the time of arrival to at least 20 to 30 minutes earlier than you're supposed to be there. If you are a person that's consistently late, just change the time that you want to be there versus when you're supposed to be there. It changes your perspective about all of it versus about like I have to be here at this time. And it with the ADHD brain, like that is almost like a target to hit versus it being like I would like to arrive 20 minutes early so I can do this. I can, I can drink some water, I can, calm myself, I can study a little bit before the test, I can, if there's any sort of traffic, I don't have to worry about trying to speed and work through it. It's so much better for your mental state to just move it earlier, just plan on being there earlier, and just taking something like I would much rather deal with being a little bored or having to do something that I feel like I never have time for anyways, like reading or doing a crossword puzzle or drawing. I just take my iPad with me or a crossword puzzle or a book. And so if I leave to show up 20 minutes early and nothing gets in the way, so I show up 20 minutes early, then I get to read for 20 minutes. Like, oh, I great, I'm early. I've got 20 minutes to read. I've got 20 minutes to prep for this meeting. Whatever. I encourage that for everybody. And the other part of that is if I was coaching you, I would say it's okay that you're late. Like it happens. It happens to neurotypicals and neurodivergents all alike. Lateness happens. It's how you react. And a big, big part of this is letting people know that you're running late. And this is something that was really hard for me to adjust to whenever I was working in the restaurant. My manager, like not the general manager, but the manager that I worked with most often would just say like you need to call if you're running late. Like she didn't tell me this in like a nice way. She was not very patient with me at this time. And understandably, I was late all the time. So I was just like if I'm late, she's going to be pissed off. So I don't want to call her and tell her I'm late because it's going to piss her off. But in all actuality, whenever the few times I was able to say like, oh crap, I was taking a nap and I woke up and now I've got 10 minutes to get to work. If I just called and said, hey, I just woke up, I will be there in 15 minutes. She knew that she could like move forward with the rest of the service without having to worry about if I was going to be there to do my job, to get my line set up, to do, she's planning on operating like I was not going to be there because she couldn't count on me. And that's a really frustrating thing for people. I think that most people who would listen to this, who would listen to me talk, would not be the kind of people who want to purposely irritate people. So look at it in that aspect. It's like, wouldn't it be irritating if you were waiting for somebody to take over for you and you didn't let them know that you're running behind? or sorry, they didn't let you know that they were running behind. So remove some of that irritation by just letting them know you're running behind. It's not a secret. You're not gonna sneak in at the last minute, and if you do, then they're just gonna notice that you were on time. Oh, you called and no big deal, you were here on time. But if you don't show up on time, they're gonna notice. Like you're not fooling anybody by sliding in the door 5 minutes late and not saying anything to anybody. You just look irresponsible, you look childish, and you look unprepared. So instead, say like, "Hey, this is what's going on. I'm running 5 minutes late." They're still going to get impatient with it at a certain point, but it's going to be much farther down the road than if you're just late all the time and you're making them stressed out by not talking to them. So be like, communication is so important, especially if you are somebody who struggles with time management. It's all about being self-aware enough to say, this is something I struggle with. How can I communicate to the people in my life that are going to be affected by it, to make sure that they are aware of my struggle, and also communicate to them that you're working to improve it. And it's going to be easier to improve it once you loop other people in. They're going to make a little bit of allowance for you, creating a reduction in stress, and that reduction in stress makes it easier to reach your goals. Like, I'm very I'm I'm not. I guess I'd say I'm proactive about solving some of these like stress factors. Is just ask for help in a way that's not like, nobody can make you be on time. But if you say like, this is something I'm struggling with, it'd be really helpful if you were just aware of it and you didn't yell at me whenever I called you to tell you I was running behind. Like that would help me a lot. And then it will start to happen less and less, because you're seeing success, and seeing success breeds more success. Like, you just have to start doing, you need a small win. You get a small win and then you're ready for the next bigger win. So I'm going to wrap it up there for today. Time management is something that it's really hard when you struggle with it, but it is totally possible to navigate your life around it. Um, I'm not going to say that we are going to fix your time management problem, but it is totally possible to mitigate some of the stress that you're causing in your life and in other people's lives by being late. And I suggest that you do so, because once again, we're talking about being ADHD out in the world, and everybody is more aware of our mess ups than we like to tell ourselves. So, like I was talking about yesterday, if we're trying to bury that, that anger that we've got because we got passed over a thing, we're not burying as well as we think we do. If we are running late all the time and we're trying to hide it from people, we're not hiding it as well as we think we are. Like, people see it. And then we are all surprised whenever we think we're crushing it at a job and we get fired and we say it's out of nowhere. Generally, it's not. There is generally at least some basis for it. And it will take you sometimes years of like work to be able to look back and say, you know what? I actually was not as great of an employee as I thought I was. I was a drain on people, and that's something that I've had to do, and I've had to go back and say like, okay, being real with myself, there was definitely a lot of stuff I could have done to improve. Like, especially looking at the promotions I didn't get, I was so shocked whenever I didn't get promoted in certain situations. I'm like, what? I'm so good at this, and this, and it's like, yes, but I wasn't looking at how bad I was at this, and this, and these things are important to being a manager, or to being this, or having this much independence in the position. Like, it's important. So, be self-aware, be proactive with your communication, and it's going to take you a lot farther than trying to hide and be deceitful. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Once again, like, I picked up another client, so I'm going to give out 2 more free 4-week mini coaching sessions, or mini coaching packages. So say that again. I'm giving out 2 more free mini coaching packages if you are interested in having me help you like identify and try to like come up with a plan for how to manage one of the obstacles your ADHD is creating in your life. Like, that's the goal. Like, let's just identify one thing and try to come up with a plan to make that thing easier in 4 weeks. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a message. Like, that's how one of the people I picked up, they just sent me a message, and I was like, great, look, sent you the calendar. Let's get it hooked up. It's totally free, no commitment, no obligation. I just want to help people. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a great night. Be yourself, love yourself. Goodbye.